In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there is no God but God, and Prophet Muhammad is his slave and messenger. And I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. In this video, I'd like to talk about the Mahdi and how to properly identify the Mahdi. So I believe the correct way to identify the Mahdi is going to the source. And we wouldn't know anything about the Mahdi, or even if the Mahdi would exist, if it wasn't for our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. He's the one who would talk in great lengths about the Mahdi and inform the companions and other believers about the Mahdi. So, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is the ultimate source to identifying the Mahdi. There's nothing more important than what Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said in his authentic hadiths about how the Mahdi would look like and the roles or the things that the Mahdi would do in the course of his lifetime. So one of the most obvious things that the Mahdi will do is that he'll bring peace and justice into a world that was filled before with oppression and unjustness. So that's an obvious sign there. We know that he'll rule the world for a certain length of time. And we know how the Mahdi will look like from the hundreds of authentic hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, how the Mahdi will look like. So it's hard to say about the things that the Mahdi will do, because that's going to take time. That's going to take a process for that to play out. So strategically, the best way to identify the Mahdi is by the physical attributes that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned in his authentic hadiths. So I'm not going to any of the companions or other believers or any scholars of what they had to say. I'm going to the source of what Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said about the Mahdi, because that is the most accurate. That's from the source. The companions and other believers and other scholars got it from either the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, or the companions or whatnot. So I'm just going to go right to the source, because I like going to the source of things. I like getting the best, truthful, and honest answers. So that's always going to the source of things. So that is the best way to identifying the Mahdi. So there's lots of people who claim to be the Mahdi, but don't give any physical attributes of how they align with what Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said in the authentic hadiths. So anybody who's claiming to be the Mahdi needs to give how they fulfill how the Mahdi looks like. So anybody who's claiming the Mahdi that doesn't give this, at least 90 to 95% accuracy within the hadiths, just to give that 5%, 5 to 10% leeway for any possible human error. So if you fulfill 50% or 60% or 30% or 10% of what the Mahdi would look like, then obviously you're not the Mahdi. You need at least 90 to 95% accuracy within the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and we'll give like 5 to 10% leeway just in case there's any human error within the hadiths, through translation or whatever. So I seen one guy claim to be the Mahdi, and he was just showing that he had curved eyebrows and that he was the Mahdi. I mean, I think about 50% of the people in the world probably have curved eyebrows. So I just thought it was kind of silly that he would only rely on curved eyebrows. So you need to have the accuracy within the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, to really justify that you're the Mahdi. And anybody claim to be the Mahdi that's not showing physical attributes that align with the authentic hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and how the Mahdi would look like, is being, I believe, somewhat deceptive and somewhat not being fully honest within themselves and with the people that they're saying that they're the Mahdi or not. So I did make a video before showing that I do have some of the physical attributes and lots of the signs possibly that I could be the Mahdi. I'm not saying 100% I am the Mahdi. I'm not sure even myself that I am the Mahdi or not, but I do have a lot of the signs that show that I am the Mahdi. Possibly. I'm not saying for 100%. Um, but it would really bother me a little bit when I would see people claiming to be the Mahdi, but not to go by with anything what Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that what he would look like. Not going into any of those details, not going to the hadiths. And like I said before, if it wasn't for Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, we wouldn't know anything about the Mahdi. Now, there is information in other older religions, like in the Torah and the oral traditions with the Jews, and the other older wisdom religions that talk about there'll be like a very spiritual being that will come in the end times and will bring peace and justice into the world and end the wars and all this good stuff. So that's why I believe the Mahdi and the Mashiach are one and the same, and there's other names for this end time spiritual advance person that will come, advanced soul that will come in the end times and will raise a vibration and bring the world into a harmonious and peaceful and abundant state in a beautiful way through the moral values of Islam and the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, talked about the Mahdi in a great amount of detail. I heard that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, would talk about the Mahdi on a daily basis with his companions. That his companions used to love to talk about the Mahdi. They would always ask the Prophet Muhammad about the Mahdi. So, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, would say how important it is to talk about the Mahdi. So, and I love talking about the Mahdi. I don't know if I'm the Mahdi or not, but I love talking about the Mahdi. I love Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, with all my heart and soul. I love his beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and I love the Mahdi too. Now, I'm not sure I'm the Mahdi or not, but we'll go through some of the hadiths that I found online, authentic hadiths about the physical attributes of the Mahdi from what Prophet Muhammad said, not anybody else, going right to the source. And you can easily look online, just do a quick Google search of Mahdi hadiths, physical appearance, and you'll get lots of hadiths talking about this. If you want to verify what I'm saying here, I just wrote down a few ones here. So we'll start out with what the Prophet said. So he, Hazrat Mahdi, is a beautiful young man with a beautiful face. The light of his face rises to his head, and the blackness of his hair. So you'll have a bright face. You'll have black hair. His face is radiant like a star. He is Arab in complexion, a reddish white in color. As you can see, my skin is a reddish white. It also says in hadiths as well that he'll also have a brownish color as well. And when I do tan, my skin does turn brown, a lightish brown, and but my default color is a reddish white color. There is a mole on his cheek. So we'll show you here that I've got a mole here, a beauty mark, a mark, and I've got two signs here on my cheeks. So continue on. Hazrat Mahdi has a thick beard. His front teeth are bright, and there are moles on his face, and his brow is wide. So I do have a thick beard. My eyebrows are somewhat wide. There are some moles, some beauty marks on my face, and my teeth are bright too. So there is a sign on his cheeks, reminiscent of a pearl that illuminates his face like a star. So these marks on Hazrat Mahdi's face will help illuminate his face. there is a mark of prophethood on his shoulder. So the Mehdi will have, on his right shoulder, will have a mark of prophethood. So I'll just show you this here. So there's a seal of prophethood on the right shoulder of the Mehdi. So the mark of prophethood on our prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, will be on Hazrat Mahdi's shoulder. He is a young man with medium stature, so I am about 5'7", average height, average size. He has a beautiful face. His hair hangs over his shoulders. The light of his face gives him grandeur. He has black hair and a black beard. So I don't have long hair right now, but if you scroll back to some of my older videos, you'll clearly see that I do have long hair that surpasses my shoulders. His stomach is large. The Mehdi will have a wide stomach. I'm not going to show my stomach in this video, but if you want to look back at one of my older videos called The Mehdi Solid Proof, I do illustrate that I do have a wide belly in that video and show physical attributes that the possibility that I may be the Mehdi. The Mehdi will have curved eyebrows. His brow is wide and his nose is bright. So wide eyebrows and my nose, I guess, is somewhat bright. His beard is thick. He will have slanted eyes, which my eyes are somewhat slanted. His nose is small and there is a small protrusion on the center of his nose. So my nose here has a small protrusion, and I guess I do have somewhat of a smaller nose. In between the two shoulders of Hazrat Mahdi on his right chest, there is a big brown mole shaped like a leaf, like a basil leaf. So in between the shoulders of Hazrat Mahdi on his right chest, there will be a mark, a brown mole or beauty mark on his right chest that looks like a basil leaf. So you can see there it kind of looks like a leaf, like a basil leaf. So those are just some of the signs that are more the obvious ones to identify who the Mehdi may be. I'm not saying I'm the Mehdi 100%, but I do bear a lot of the signs, and there is a possibility that I could be the Mehdi. As far as I'd go, I'd say I'm a candidate possibly to be the Mehdi. But really, I just feel I'm just a helper of the Mehdi, and and honestly, from a young age, I always wanted to heal the world and make the world a better place. And I just recently, about 4 years ago, converted to Islam. I was raised Catholic here in Canada. I was born and raised here in Canada. I don't speak Arabic. It is mentioned within the Jewish tradition that the Mashiach, which I believe is the same as the Mehdi, would come from the gates of Rome. Now, the gate means somewhere on the outside of Rome. So Rome is basically Italy, Turkey area. So would be on the outskirts of Europe, I would believe. So a Christian / Catholic countries would be North American countries. Philippines would be another. So those would be kind of the gates of Rome area. So there's a lot of other attributes that I could go into, but for now I think that's good enough. So if anybody who's claiming to be the Mehdi needs to go to the authentic source of what the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said in the authentic hadiths, and has to have those physical attributes. So that is a great way to identify who the Mehdi is. Like I said, I could or could not be the Mehdi. Allah knows best. I'm going to do my thing and increase my spirituality and knowledge on a daily basis. And may Allah guide and bless us all. May Allah bless us and protect us and guide us. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the video.